on today's episode of The Unwritten Rule. This will be the only time you see me. It was the Kenny and Payton show for your Monday. I had some kind of derailed travel plans this weekend that also caused me to miss the show and not be able to record on Sunday. I'll tell the full story on next show because it is kind of humorous and has a good ending. But enough about me. Payton and Kenny did some good cleanup from the Louisiana game. Just talked about that. Looked ahead a little bit to South Carolina and had some good stuff about that, or about both things in quick hits. Talked about Mizzou jumping up to 23 in the AP poll. Talk some PFF, of course. Ahmad Hardy getting Offensive Player of the Week from them. Thank you, Max. So it had that stuff in quick hits and had a good recap of the Louisiana game. Looked ahead to South Carolina. Also issuing a correction because I am recording this intro after they talked. They did talk about the Dylan Stewart thing with South Carolina and how he might have had to miss time after he got tossed for the unsportsmanlike conduct against Vandy. There's been a report since then that Dylan Stewart was told, or Shane Beamer was told by the SEC that Dylan Stewart is good to go and does not have to miss time against Mizzou. He was ejected toward the end of the game for an unsportsmanlike penalty against Vandy, like I said. So that's important to know. Payton, I think, did say that he would miss, I think, the first half or some time against Missouri for that penalty, but apparently not. So big news there for the South Carolina game, a little bit looking ahead. We will have a preview for that for Friday, kind of get back into the groove of kind of normal previews for the rest of the season, I guess with the exception of UMass, because Mizzou will be playing bigger and better opponents. But yeah, some good cleanup from Payton and Kenny for the Louisiana game. There's your quick update for South Carolina looking ahead, just to correct Payton retroactively for what he says during the show about Dylan Stewart. But there you go. We'll get into it. I'll step aside. The Payton and Kenny show, recapping Louisiana, diving into Mizzou's numbers behind that big win for the Tigers and their jump in the AP poll. We'll get right into it. The Unwritten Rule starts right now.
Marcel, where are you going with that disc? You are not putting that on again. Marcel, okay, if you press that button, you are in very, very big trouble.
Attention. Everybody stop what you're doing. It's time for The Unwritten Rule, a Mizzou sports podcast brought to you by the Believe Network, alongside Payton Haverman and Kenny Van Doren. Here is your host, Jack Knowlton.
Welcome back to The Unwritten Rule. Today is Monday, September 15th. And if you're hearing my voice, it means there's no Jack Knowlton. It's a two-man show, Kenny and Payton show, recapping the weekend. And instead of just a regular recap of just talking about the week 3 win over Louisiana, 52-10 in favor of the Tigers, moving up 2 spots in the AP poll with the win, and some stuff shifting below. And we'll get more into that and quick hits. We're going to get just more into looking at the PFF grades like we did last weekend. We didn't do a regular recap if you're a regular listener on YouTube or any podcast service. But we'll just take a look more at these PFF grades and get into some more specifics against South Carolina before doing a preview on Friday. And I think a good place to start, Payton, is that you were texting Jack and I. You were pretty excited about some of these PFF grades from Ahmad Hardy, who rushed for 250 yards in this game on 22 carries and 3 touchdowns, to the offensive line, both tackles having great offensive grades. And I'll just read off just their offensive ones. Maybe you can get into maybe these run blocking and pass blocking. Top 3 players in this game on the offensive side of the ball for Missouri, according to Pro Football Focus: 92.7 Ahmad Hardy, 92.0 Caden Green, and 89.6 Keegan Trost. What about those 3 guys and maybe some other offensive numbers that really jumped out to you after this big win in week 3?
Yeah, for one, I thought it was a great bounce back game for just the offense in general in the run blocking department, because I think the first 2 weeks, it's fair to say they were a little up and down. I don't think they were outright bad or anything, but I do think it was not like the perfect, like just everything you wanted to see out of them. So like you said, Keegan Trost, who has really been fantastic the first few weeks in general. It was really both the tackles that kind of stole the show for me. I mean, run block grade of 86.0, pass block grade of 81.7 for Trost. Caden Green, 84.8 pass block grade, 90.6 run block grade. They were excellent I thought the run blocking in general, just watching it with my eyes, looked just all world better. And look, it is ULL. ULL the last.
No, it's not ULL. It's no longer called ULL.
Do they
They're
just
only
call themselves
Louisiana.
Louisiana then?
Louisiana.
Okay, well, ULL. No, I'm messing with them. I know that's like a Twitter thing. I remember like ULL fans don't like when you do that, but I'll just call them Louisiana. Either way, it doesn't change the fact that Mizzou beat them by 6 touchdowns. Louisiana is a program that's been really good the last 5-6 years. They won 10 or more games, I think, like 4 times in the last decade. Have been a Sun Belt powerhouse. This obviously is a bit of a reset year for them. They lost to Rice in week 1. But I mean, it's still not a nothing opponent. It is a team that Missouri should physically dominate, I think, in every aspect. But it was good to see them actually go out and do it, because against Central Arkansas, I don't think they did it as much as we wanted to see. But I thought the run blocking in general, particularly just the performances from your 2 tackles, the 2 most important offensive linemen you have, especially when you're running wide zone as much as Missouri does. I thought they were absolutely excellent. Looking at like the rest of the grades, I mean, Tollison was good. I thought it was a great bounce back week for him, because I did not think he played well in week 2. Piegler was kind of pedestrian. I think it's clear he's kind of just the 5th man on the line. I'm not really too concerned about him. But I mean, the rest of the offensive line played absolutely fantastic, lights out football. So that was really nice to see. They're going to need to replicate that performance going into next week. Ahmad Hardy, I mean, the numbers kind of speak for themselves. He had a 92.7 just offensive grade in general, 91.4 run grade. I mean, that's just absurdly high. He would have broken every single record in the book, I think, if Mizzou really, really was motivated to do it. Obviously, they called off the dogs pretty early in the second half. And for good reason. Ahmad Hardy, I think, has shown that he's not a guy that needs to be out there for every single down. He's probably a guy you're going to want to keep fresh going forward. Also with Ahmad Hardy, I did tweet this out. I texted it to you guys as well. I do truly believe, like, this is not a dig at anyone else Drink has had in his tenure, but Ahmad Hardy, to me at least, seems head and shoulders above any other running back Mizzou has had talent-wise in Drinkwitz's time at Missouri. It's probably one of the talent-wise, I think I'd be hard-pressed to say he's not one of the best running backs Missouri has ever had come through its doors. Not saying he's going to become one of the most accomplished. There's a long ways to go. But this kid, I mean, the runs, Kenny, I mean, I can't find how many broken tackles he had yesterday, but we all saw that, like, his second or third to last run where he had 3 guys draped all over him and he just broke through all of them. Like, this is just an absurd player, like, very clearly. He was very hyped up in the offseason, and he has more than lived up to the billing. He's had 100 yards in every single game, at least. He's second in the nation in running. UTSA's running back is actually first in the nation at this moment in time. But still, as advertised for Ahmad Hardy. Last guy I'm gonna talk about on the offense is gonna be Bo Perbula. I know, really stretching for guys here, talking about the quarterback, running back, and the 2 tackles. But Bo Perbula yesterday, I think for the first time, kind of looked a bit human. It was definitely not his best outing. PFF had it as far and away his worst graded game of the year. I think that was probably fair. His pass grade was only a 55.1. He threw his first interception. It was a pretty bad ball. Missed Norfleet in the end zone. He wasn't perfect yesterday. I still would say he was pretty damn good. He made that stellar throw, like with a guy draped on his ankle, to Jamal Roberts that turned into a 39-yard touchdown. And I'm really not that concerned about him still. I still think the accuracy, for the most part, other than maybe that Norfleet throw, in the back of the end zone at the end of the first half. That was a miss. But he's decisive. He's still pretty accurate, I think. So I'm not really all that worried, but I do think it's worth noting that he looked human for the first time against Louisiana.
I think when you play teams like this, where you're playing, a lower competition, and you don't want to, say it's a pushover team, but like you mentioned, there is a good history there with Louisiana. There's good retainment too with some of this. When you go through the roster, there's a lot of guys that were committed to Louisiana. They're among the starters. It's not like a team that's really built through the transfer portal. It's a little bit harder in the Sun Belt, but there is a former top 100 wide receiver on this team from LSU that transferred over. But at the same time, this team wasn't very offensively, there, even with Walker Howard at quarterback, who's a former 5-star that transferred in from Ole Miss. So there were already struggles already with this team. And I think when you play a team like this too, and the grades can kind of tell you this, Payton, that, you're not getting the full game. So Bo Fabula's numbers probably don't shine or, stick out to you. Brett Norfleet, the same. They were kind of down the list on the PFF grades. But you did bring up, questions about Ahmad Hardy at 12 manufactured broken tackles in this. So that was the same as Kansas, but he had 7.95 yards after contact per attempt. So that was a kind of a big one for him. That's a jump from week 2 where he had 4.08, and in week 1 was 5.55. So yards after contact in this game too, 167 of his 250. So another big day on the ground, just kind of bulldozing through. And I want to talk just about the defense for a second too, and then we can talk about how this is going to be, the first real true test for Ahmad Hardy in the SEC, because he'll play South Carolina next week. The defensive grades, Payton, I mean, they're great as well. I'll just pull up, some of these numbers from Louisiana. 4 total passing yards in this game, only 2 completions for the Louisiana offense. The rushing was a little bit better, with Zylan Perry having 86 yards, Steven Blanco having 31, Lunch Winfield, who's the backup quarterback, kind of a gadget guy who attempted 6 passes, had 13 rushing yards. But Payton, just from these defensive grades and just how good Mizzou was against this Sun Belt team, what did you just like from a lot of those guys on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, anytime you can hold a team to 2 completions all day on 14 attempts, I believe it was probably a good day at the office. The tackling grades were off the charts good for Missouri. Everyone on the team that had a tackle grade from PFF, except for one player, had a grade of 69.7 or better, which is really good. I mean, nobody had a grade above 80, but you have like pretty much everyone else being really good, consistent, not allowing broken tackles. The one exception was Nicholas Rodriguez, who had a tackle grade of only 26.5. But I mean, he still wound up having an okay game, even in spite of that. Really, what I think also stood out was the pass rush grades from Damon Wilson and Chris McClellan. Both of them were really, really solid in this one. Damon Wilson was downright elite with a 90.2. I believe they gave him, he did have 1 sack and he had a hurry. He's been as advertised, I think. I know in the first half against Kansas, really nobody on the defense was playing well for a bit. I do remember getting a little frustrated then. But other than that, it's been exceptional. Chris McClellan had a good game rushing the passer as well. Really, save for one play, that 86-yard touchdown run, I thought the defense was exceptionally good. Now, that's kind of a thing we've said a lot under Batoon, is that Missouri has like a couple big plays a game it gives up. I remember the Boston College game in particular. It was like absolute domination from the defense, except for like the couple of deep balls that Castellanos hit against them. But that's kind of how it was yesterday. I mean, it was really one good snap of football for ULL and then like 1,000 good snaps of football for Missouri. So I thought it was a good game. They obviously are getting quite a step up in competition this week against South Carolina. Obviously, we'll get more into that. It could be a different look, South Carolina, but that's still, the talent level is going to be much different from what they faced this year.
Let's talk about South Carolina real quick. We'll get into a full preview on Friday, but just a couple notes. LaNorris Sellers currently just kind of being monitored since he suffered a concussion, according to Pete Nakos. on Saturday against Vanderbilt, knocked them out pretty early. And South Carolina really just got handled in that game, 31-7 final score, with the first time Vanderbilt beating South Carolina since 2008, Peyton. I mean, that's a long ways. So it ended up not being a great game for the Gamecocks, falling out of the rankings as well. Peyton, just on that offensive side of the ball, I know we were talking with Jack as well. Maybe South Carolina not really living up to the billing so far, even with when LaNorris Sellers was healthy. What have you just kind of seen from them in just a kind of a short period of time?
Yeah, I actually watched that entire second half just because obviously we were thinking maybe if South Carolina had won that game, Missouri could have gotten game day. Who knows if that would have been the case or not. But either way, like you said, South Carolina got absolutely smoked, and they went from 11, I believe it was, to completely unranked. So that kind of that's a bummer for Missouri in a lot of ways, because I think that's a game that could have given Missouri a lot of national respect. And now Vanderbilt comes in and smokes them, which, by the way, Vanderbilt no longer a pushover. I think it's very fair to say that's a legit bona fide SEC team. Clark Lee has really turned it around. Diego Pavia has kind of shaped the whole dynamic of that program. But yeah, I mean, once Sellers went down, I mean, South Carolina's offense just could not do anything. I mean, Doty, many will remember Luke Doty. He started against Missouri in 2021. I don't remember if he started against them in 2020 as well, but he definitely started against them in 2021 and not 22. That was Rattler by then, but Doty did not look good. He could not even manage to put any points on the board for them. But even like you mentioned before, when it was with Sellers, I mean, they really had not been a great offensive team this year. Their offensive line on PFF, the entire left side and their center, they're all ranked in the 50s. I mean, their left tackle is ranked 53.5 right now. It's Josiah Thompson, who's a sophomore. He is the 394th ranked tackle in the nation. Their right side of the line is considerably better, especially their right tackle, Kason Henry. He's a top 50 rated tackle in the nation. But I mean, still, I mean, they have not been doing a good job up front to protect Sellers. Sellers, I know, I can't attest to this personally. I did watch a lot of South Carolina, Virginia Tech, but a lot of people have noticed that Sellers hasn't been getting the ball out, I think, as quickly as maybe he should be this season. So if he does come back, that may be something to watch. He still is pretty solidly rated, 90 or 76.3 overall grade, 96th in the country for quarterbacks. I mean, a lot of that is not just from one, either passing or running either. He's pretty solidly rated in both. Look, we'll get more into it on Thursday. If Sellers plays, it changes the entire dynamic of this game. I think Missouri, it's a game I've kind of done a 180 on. It's now a game that preseason I thought Missouri would probably lose because I was very high on South Carolina. I now, no matter who at quarterback, expect them to win this game and win it pretty handily. But Sellers obviously has that dynamic if he plays. I think maybe Missouri is the better team on like top to bottom, but Sellers has the ability to be the best player on the field. So you can never discount a team with that. But like you said, they've really been in a slog offensively all year. It really just kind of it all came to a head last night. I mean, once Sellers went down, they could not do anything. And Vanderbilt, it was embarrassing almost. I mean, I was like shocked at how easily Vanderbilt was moving the ball up and down the field. That's another thing with Dylan Stewart. He will not be playing in the first half of this game. He's easily one of the most talented edge rushers in the nation, especially rushing the passer. I know there's a lot of questions about his run defense, but it was a shocking game, to say the least. And I now fully expect Missouri to win this game.
Yeah, we'll talk about Dylan Stewart before we move over to quick hits. You got kind of tangled up with the Vanderbilt offensive tackle, right tackle Bryce Henderson, gave him a shove. It's not like he took him to the ground, but just, a little bit curricular after the play and pushed him out of it. And Shane Beamer said after the game he thinks Stewart will be out. We'll have to sit out the first half. It seems like everyone has that same thought after this one, but it isn't confirmed, by the SEC just yet, ahead of this upcoming Saturday's game in Columbia, Missouri. So that's just kind of where it stands there. Some of those grades, though, from Dylan Stewart in this game. He ended up playing in 43 snaps in this one, 54.8 overall defensive grade, run defense, as you mentioned, Payton, 64.4, still, in that kind of darkish, green, getting into the reds, getting into the oranges, 33.4 tackle grade, 71.5 pass rush. That was his best grade in this contest against Vanderbilt, and a 60 coverage grade, which I don't think really matters too much, or what you're looking for when you're kind of scouting Dylan Stewart. But that's where that kind of goes. I know, like we've been saying, we're sounding like a broken record already. We'll get more into it later. We don't want to, spoil the whole preview for that South Carolina game. But anything else just from the weekend, Payton, that you wanted to touch on?
Yeah, I mean, losing Dylan Stewart and LaNorris Sellers, to say the least. If obviously Stewart would be back in the second half, but if South Carolina is without both of those guys for the first half, I think it's really imperative Missouri gets off to a really fast start. Again, we have no idea what's going to become of LaNorris Sellers as the week goes on. Luke Doty, though, I mean, he is very experienced, but he just played really poorly last night. I mean, he was 18 for 27, 148 yards. South Carolina, they looked like a team that quit, like once they realized Sellers was not coming back. I think last year, obviously, was just an unbelievably entertaining game. That one hurt like hell to lose. I'm sure Drinkwitz is going to be out for revenge in this one. I really do feel good about Missouri's chances in this one. That's what I'll leave it at. We'll get more into it Thursday. But I like Missouri's chances this weekend.
What's going to do it for our weekend cleanup? We're going to throw it over to Quick Hits in just a moment. All right, Quick Hits time, brought to you by FanDuel, the Believe Network, the Unwritten Rule. Just Peyton and I again, just for Quick Hits. If you're noticing, if you're on the YouTube, this might be the first Monday podcast you've watched in a while. Sorry for just hitting my mic, but first Monday podcast you've watched in a while on the YouTube, and there's no trivia, no dozen trivia up there, Daily Dozen from Barstool. It's because I have my own Ken Sports short. I haven't done this in a while. I've been pretty lazy. I've got really into those trivia ones. I play trivia every Monday, and I think we were just having a good time playing it too. But this came up in the game, Peyton. I know our friend Tyler Kading in our group chat with our buddies from college was bringing it up as well, talking about how close Ahmad Hardy was to the single season rushing record for Mizzou, single game for Missouri, single game rushing record. He ended up falling to 7th on the list with 250, or I guess moving up to it on the list to 250. So there's 6 guys in front of him, or actually not 6 guys, but 6 performances in front of him. And wanted to see if you could name some of those guys that make up the rest of the list. I can give you the numbers too in the year if you'd like.
Is this SEC or is it all time?
It's going to be all time for Missouri, not just in the SEC, because we already know that the SEC one is Tyler Beatty. Yes.
Okay, so it's all time for Mizzou in a game. So Temple's on there.
Yep. I'll just read them off once you say the names. Tony Temple is 3rd, 281 in 2007 against Arkansas.
In the Cotton Bowl, I believe.
Yep. Yep.
Good old Cotton Bowl. What a lovely bowl game. Henry Josie's got to be on there.
Henry Josie is 4th, 263 in 2011 against Western Illinois.
Right, and he had like 3 touchdowns as well. Would have been a great fantasy game. Obviously,
Tyler Beatty, 5th, 254, 2021 Vanderbilt. Yeah.
Right. Brad Smith is going to be on there at least once.
Yeah, he's number 2, 291 against Texas Tech in 2003. So there's only one more player, and he's 1st and 6th. I heard actually about this guy on Friday.
Can I get the years quick?
Both in 1998.
1998. Boy, people are going to be yelling at me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know it too. I would have known this just because I heard his name on Friday.
It's not Josie. Or I said Josie. It's not Demaria Crockett, because that was like 15 years later. Uh, Can I get the numbers?
319 is number one against Kansas, and then 252 is the sixth most against Iowa State. Of course, both 1998.
Oh, this is not good that I don't know this right away. I don't want to stall us too long, but I know this is going to be a guy I know. Is this an NFL guy?
Yeah, I don't think you would have much of like I don't know. I don't think you're thinking of this guy in the NFL. You're thinking of him at Mizzou.
Where did he play in the NFL?
That's a good question. Let me pull that up.
Is his number retired at Mizzou?
Should be.
Should be. So it's not yet.
Yeah, it is. Well, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Oh man, this is bad. Who is it?
He was a semifinalist for the Doak Walker that year.
Really? Wow. Who is it? I can't think of it.
Devin West.
Devin West. Yep. I should have known that immediately.
Is 32 retired?
I don't know for sure.
Okay.
Or like if he's in the Ring of Honor or anything.
Yeah. So the reason I'll tell you too, the reason I heard his name this past week is because I went to see the DeSmet SLU game on Friday, and I talked to Rich Jane's father, class of 2028 tight end that Mizzou likes at DeSmet. His dad, of course, Ron Rhino Janes, and he was talking to me. He brought up Devin's name for a second because he was just talking about how he played running back in high school. Once he got to college, there was no way he was going to play running back over Devin West and Brock Olivo. So he was the fullback for both of those guys who are, both in the Hall of Fame now for Missouri.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, geez. He had 1,500 yards, 17 touchdowns. That's insanity.
He doesn't have a Wikipedia page.
1998 year.
That's why I couldn't find it. He doesn't have a Wikipedia page.
I know. It's crazy, which means he
weird?
Probably was not any good in the NFL, but that's
yeah,
okay.
I guess. I kind of assumed he probably made it somewhere, but didn't stick, if that was the case.
Wow.
Okay.
People are going to be rightfully angry that I didn't get that one. I should have gotten that quickly.
Maybe our good friend Mario will tweet at us yelling at you tomorrow morning.
I will probably deserve it in this instance.
Tigers in the Wild. There's a new Mizzou baseball commit. Payton, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's Seamus Moylan, right?
Like his name?
Yes. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
You said, yeah, it's Seamus Moylan. That's how I assume it's pronounced. Yeah.
So class of 2027 catcher Seamus Moylan becomes a third commit for Missouri in the upcoming cycle in 2023. Two other commits right now, according to Perfect Game. Cole Ruggieri, who's from Naperville, Illinois, and then Chase Steiferman from Jefferson City. Both those guys, right-handed, left-handed pitchers, respectively, and maybe a future battery mate in Seamus Moylan, a catcher from Ormond Beach, Florida, goes to Spruce Creek High School. Of course, other player interests, just according to Perfect Game, some other guys just, around the different states, Florida, California being two big ones. Not seeing many other Missouri guys, Zachary DeHaas, Howie DeNoho. Maybe there's some people out there that have heard those names before. They just listen to us because they're Missouri area guys. But new big commitment for Missouri baseball in the 2027 class.
Yeah, it's just going to kind of have to be, I think if Missouri, the deck is so stacked against them in baseball. I think it almost has to just be you catch lightning in a bottle or just become a really good development staff with your younger guys. I think that's probably the best way Missouri can ever hope to even be competitive.
Well, certainly. Payton, what's your jersey?
It's not jersey, Kenny.
Sorry. What is your Tigre in the Wild?
My Tigres. It's actually Tigers in the Wild because thanks, Max Chadwick, who obviously does all the PFF award decisions. Of course, I'm kidding. But PFF, after Missouri's absolute romping of Louisiana. I'll get used to that. Romping of Louisiana yesterday. They handed out several awards to the offensive side of the ball. Ahmad Hardy was named to the PFF all offense team. He was the running back. Also, Fernando Mendoza, former future Tiger, was at quarterback. They also named Keegan Trost specifically to right tackle, but that wasn't all, Kenny. Offensive player of the week for PFF was Ahmad Hardy. You see it there 7.9 yards after contact, like you said. 12 missed tackles. That's absurd. What an unbelievable game he had. Offensive line of the week. Yeah, he has 27 forced missed tackles in 3 weeks. That's ridiculous. Offensive line of the week was also Missouri's. Again, really pretty much good numbers across the board. And it was highlighted by Keegan Trost, who they made their right tackle of the week.
Jack didn't really have anything to add on this because he's going to go right into women's basketball and maybe even more Hall of Fame. We were just talking about some Hall of Famers, and Brock Olivo was a part of this class too. But Sophie Cunningham is Jack's Tiger in the Wild. Indiana Fever shared some photos just from her induction on Friday, going into the Missouri Athletics Hall of Fame. She's got the brace on her right leg. She talked a little bit about that on the ESPN Plus broadcast, but really cool for her to come back and get into or be inducted. I had just a fun little note too about Brock Olivo, who went in as well, who's a special teams assistant. I don't think that's really talked about a lot. He's on the Mizzou staff. They asked Ron James to come back and put it on, but he said he wasn't going to miss, the SLU versus DeSmet game. He's also on staff for that team. He's the running backs coach for DeSmet, so he wasn't going to miss it, and he ended up missing his former running backs induction to go help out his son's team.
It's a bummer he couldn't make it, but very understandable reasoning. Yeah, like you said, Sophie was also on the ESPN Plus broadcast this past weekend. So pretty cool homecoming. I wonder if this is the first time she's seen Mizzou Arena with the black seats, because I don't know if she's been back since they've been painted.
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. Trying to think.
But, also you can just go back and look at Missouri's women's basketball history, and you can very easily identify which 4 years Sophie Cunningham was on the team. So that should probably be a pretty easy Hall of Fame case when you can do something like that.
Como kid too, attended Rockbridge. Those don't know, she was also on the football team at one point. It's good KMU clips out there from that time. Headlines. Headline of the week. I believe this is mine. Yeah, the coaches poll. Or no, this one. Oh, I clicked the wrong link. I'm so sorry, Payton. I just stole that from you because you had the AP poll coming into this, and I wanted to address the coaches poll, so you're a little bit behind the scenes of how I type. Just clicked the wrong one again.
You just clicked AP poll again.
Yeah, look at that.
Right now.
Coaches poll top 25, and then we'll get to the AP poll, and Payton can talk all about it. I'm just going to run through it just so people know the names. Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia, LSU, Oregon, Miami. I'm not going to go through all of it. It's going to take too long. But we'll go down to Missouri.
Kenny. You got to reset. You got to reset, man.
Missouri moved up 4 spots in the coaches poll after not being in it the last week. Was on the outside looking in with the 26th most points, but up to 22 in the coaches poll. I know people probably don't care too much about it, but it is like the coach's opinion. I've also heard sometimes that, different assistants might do it. It's not always just the head coach. It really just kind of comes down to who is submitting it that week. Some schools that dropped out from the coaches poll, though: Clemson at 11, South Florida at 23, Arizona State at 24, and BYU at 25.
Very solid. I think 22 is fair. I would probably have them in front of the winless team that's right in front of them, but neither here nor there.
If those two teams played right now, who's winning?
Notre Dame would probably win.
There you go. AP poll. Tell us about it.
Yes, my headline is going to be #STP, which was the tweet from Mizzou football. Because Mizzou is number 23 in the AP poll. They moved up 2 spots. I don't really have a whole ton of issue with the placement, but I have this interesting dilemma now, because in the AP poll, they dropped South Carolina from 11 to unranked, which I don't think I'd have done quite that, but I think it's fair enough. But they also moved Vanderbilt from unranked to 20. So does that mean if Missouri beats South Carolina this week, they're going to jump up like 10, 11 spots like Vanderbilt did? Because they're playing the exact same team. So I have a feeling that's not going to be the same treatment, though, if Missouri wins this weekend. But it's the AP poll. It's not worth getting that upset about unless someone does something obscenely dumb, like rank Florida after they lose to South Florida. Then that's something you can complain about. But
yeah, It's not as meaningful as it used to be. It's going to get pushed away. It's not even going to be attached to some of these teams in a couple weeks once the college football playoff committee gets together. How about this, Payton? They fly every single AP voter into the same room Sunday morning after they covered their games all night on Saturday. They put them all in the same room and make them vote, get a more accurate one like they do with the college football playoff committee. How about that?
I think that's a great idea. And I think obviously that'd be a great use of resources and travel budget.
Yeah, it's not like journalists can really afford that stuff. I mean, hey, Taylor Swift can lend her jet to some of these writers. What is Jack's headline?
Jack's headline comes from ESPN. It's Hokies fire coach Brent Pry after starting 0-3. Yeah, this was. It's kind of funny we've been talking so much about South Carolina and Vanderbilt on this show because they both beat this Hokies team. They contributed to the 0-2 start, and Old Dominion went out and absolutely crushed Virginia Tech 45-26. It is really depressing how far this Virginia Tech program has fallen. They were a power when you and I were growing up. That's where Beamer ball came from. It wasn't the guy in South Carolina. It was Frank Beamer at Virginia Tech winning games with special teams. It's really shocking. It'll be interesting to see. Just like I don't think Shane Beamer would take this job if he gets called. But you gotta, if you're Virginia Tech, be like, hey, Frank Beamer coached here. You want to come over here? You got to at least see if he'd like listen. I don't think he would, but just an interesting thought.
He's already on hot boards. They're the On3 national team put one together. The national writers, just what they were hearing. He was atop the list. I mean, he has to be just with his ties to Virginia Tech. Not saying that there's a real shot that he would leave South Carolina in the SEC to go play in the ACC with a program that needs to be rebuilt. But I mean, heck, yeah. I mean, his name will be forever attached to Virginia Tech, especially during the heyday for the Hokies. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode.
No, it isn't, Kenny. This one comes from our favorite TV series, The Today Show. Kenny, how do trees get on the internet? I might have used this one already.
I think you have.
Okay, what does a painter do when he gets cold?
Oh man. I want to say like he just paints himself a darker color because that would make the most sense. On the right
track with like painting.
Painting, yeah. It's like, he paints him I don't know. Go ahead, hit me with it.
He puts on another coat.
Yeah, that made the most sense. Man, I should have gotten that one. Yeah, do you think Jack would have gotten it?
No.
Yeah, makes the most sense.
I don't.
Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of The Unwritten Rule. We'll be back together, hopefully all three of us, for Friday to preview South Carolina, get into that one. Big game, night game, opening SEC play before homecoming the following week, and then a bye week. So I think it's a good stretch of games before get more into the heart of SEC play, starting with Alabama in October. Brought to you by FanDuel on the Believe Network. Have a great week, and we'll see you again Friday.